I started sharing my my presentation. Is it showing up on everybody's screen?
It looks like it.
All right, good. All right, so Lionbridge is a localization services company. We are a leader in the industry. We have been around for about 20 years. And localization is a funny word. A lot of people think about it as GPS kind of related, but it's really about bringing products to local markets, and that's what we do. We help companies and brands bring their products closer to their local audiences. And it really, if I would need to describe what we do in sort of one word or one sentence, it's we deal with everything between language and technology, right? So it's a big kind of scope of what we do. From a interaction perspective, you might be astonished, but a lot of you interact with products of our work every day, multiple times, just by sheer act of using a phone, or maybe driving a car, or getting an ultrasonograph, or anything really. We are present really in many of the experiences, everyday experiences that you guys have. And we think that localization industry and Lionbridge in particular is a really exciting time, really exciting place, and it's really exciting times to be in this industry. And let's see why. So, back in before the COVID era, that impacted and dramatically kind of changed how we all kind of live our lives, right? No matter if you are a professional having a career and working or studying or whatever else you do, it changes. It changed everything, right? It changed how we interact with different products, different brands, with your colleagues, families, right? And really the bottom line is the digital transformation. So the process of kind of moving more and more of our life online has accelerated with the pandemics, right? And companies are just trying to get better at sort of interacting with their customers, and that results in a number of different things. One of those things is content that you guys all consume and companies create. And not only companies, but also NGOs and education facilities, is becoming super important, right? And it's essentially becoming the ultimate barrier of getting that content to local audiences, right? That also reduces or impacts how the content lifecycle changes, right? There's more content being created. There's more content being translated into different languages. We as end users and consumers of that content expect it turns out faster. It becomes more engaging, more personal, right? And it's just the sheer volume of content, right? Think about all of the tweets, YouTube videos, all the touch points that you have with multiple companies via the service tickets, emails, websites, mobile apps, right? It's just mind-blowing how transformative that is, right? And in all of that, companies and other institutions are struggling on how to manage their customer experience and how to make their customer and workforce experience, because it's also really internal, right? How employees interact with the different facilities that companies provide. It's really a big problem, and language is one of the most important aspects of it right now. So when we talk with different companies, and when we look at how companies do their work, we realize that a lot of companies started bringing their localization teams, their marketing teams, their content teams together to think about holistic kind of content journeys, right? To plan and to figure out how they kind of do this better, right? And Lionbridge as a company is helping companies to do this across the whole content journey, be it planning the content or creating the content, helping them provide them with the insights about how to make the content more readable, how to make the content more engaging, what's relevant for particular markets, what are the best practices for particular markets, right? How to make the better use of inclusive language, which is a super important topic, through how to transform content from different formats, videos, blog posts, websites, mobile apps, right? There's so many different types of contents these days, and how to consistently get it to different through the different digital channels to the target audiences, right? It's how to speak consistently about it, how to make sure that the brand voice is really consistent, right? And also about kind of leveraging some of the artificial intelligence and machine learning to learn more about their content, to learn more about the quality of it, and kind of create some tips and tricks that help companies create that content better, faster, make it more engaging to local audiences. We as a company, we help customers at every single step of this journey. So I'll transition now to my colleague, Ina. She's a language lead or oral linguist in Lionbridge, to tell you a little bit more of all of these different wonderful things that we do. Ina?
Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. Thanks a lot. Okay, guys, so it's nice to meet you all. My name is Ina. I'm a graduate from the University of Warsaw. I studied applied linguistics. And today I wanted to share my experience when it comes to graduate's perspective, what you can do in the future after you study linguistics, and what it's really like working in the translation field. So, in short, all through my studies, I believed that I would end up working as a translator and interpreter, and if not that I would end up as a teacher. And that's what my university pretty much told me. They told me I could pursue a career in interpreting, translating, that the choice was mine, and if I didn't want to do that, per se, I could always teach the languages that I majored in. And that's what I had been preparing myself for all these years of my university education. And everything changed actually when I started job hunting. Right after uni, I started looking through job offers, and it turns out that it's not just those two roads, right? Translating, interpreting, or teaching. Those are not the only two roads. There's also the localization business. Right. Next slide, please. Now, the entire process of translation, it seemed to me for very many years that it's just pretty simple, right? That you get a piece of text, right? You sort out the technicalities, the deadline, the area of expertise, and you deliver it in a timely fashion, and that's it. That's what I thought for many years. But in fact, the entire process can be so much more. It's not just linguistics, right? It's not just the act of translation itself. It's also computers. It's also technology, and even a bit of programming. So I like to call it the life cycle of translation. It starts with the very beginning when we start talking with our various clients about the kinds of text that they will send us, the types of content, which can range from many things, as Gaetan mentioned. And then it goes on to the pre-translation preparation that we do on our side, various linguistic queries, analysis, and then we move on to the translation process itself. And then after, we have our own quality measures that we do. Quality assurance with the use of CAT tools and CAR tools. Then we have the post-production support after delivery, and it even extends beyond that. And the beautiful thing is, which is something that was new to me, is that you can be a part, as a linguist, you can be a part of every single part of this process, from the very beginning up until the very end and beyond. And another thing that surprised me was what Gaetan also mentioned, the types of texts that we receive, because I'm not quite sure what your experiences are, but when I was a student, the types of texts that we received to translate in class, or even when we had our teaching practices or translation practices, those were pretty simple texts, right? We had some kinds of legal texts, we had press articles, university documents and stuff. But in fact, the content that we received is so much more. We receive things from marketing content, through various gaming content. We work with audiovisual translations, and we even do very sophisticated translations like software or highly detailed automotive repair manuals. So we don't only limit ourselves to text translation. We go beyond that, and it's great to know that you can work in every kind of field and every moment of the process. So, like I mentioned, it's not just about the languages that you know. It's how you use them, how you use your knowledge about language, about how it works, your knowledge of each culture, each language, everything, the structure. This knowledge is critical, and you can use it, of course, in translation and interpreting and teaching, but you can also use it in the entire translation process. Next slide, please. Now, I've said a few words about the theory, right, the business itself, but I also wanted to shed some light on what I actually do on a day-to-day basis. So the entire process that I mentioned, right, we have a few stages. So I mentioned that we start with talking with the clients before we receive the text. Then we move on to something I like to call a pre-production support, which basically means that we take the content that was sent to us, we analyze it, we try to catch out all potential issues. We try to create as many reference files for our translation partners as we can. And then we move on to the translation process itself, during which we take all those assets and all those things we prepared. We send them over to our translation partners. And they, of course, work on the text, but the entire linguistic team, the language leads, right? We work and we provide constant support for our translators during the entire translation process. We support not only with project-related queries or source text questions, but we also help them with our CAT tools and our CAR tools. And later we move on to the post-localization part of the process, where internally we perform various kinds of quality assurance. Those can be internal quality assurance checks, and those can be external ones. And by internal, I mean our work with our CAT tools and our CAR tools. And the external ones would be reviews, either with in-house reviewers or client review. And then we get to the part which is a big part of my job, after delivery, the support that linguists provide after delivery. So we manage quality. We make sure that all the KPIs are met, that the quality we deliver to the client is good. We take feedback from our clients. We analyze what was done correctly, what could be improved, and we constantly strive to support the process and better it with each order. And I mean, apart from that, we just manage our linguistic assets. Right, so those translation memories, those glossaries I mentioned, right, we make sure that they're up to date. And in some cases, we also discuss and present those quality metrics I mentioned. We either discuss them only internally, or even some of us discuss these matters with our clients. And what I really like most is what I've said at least 3 times, that we work in the entire life cycle of the translation, right? The entire process. What's great is that it's not just me working with linguists and translators. It's all our linguists working together with other teams, with technical teams, with project managers, with quality managers, with testing teams, right? And even sales. So as a linguist, you can work not just with the support of the translation or just translating. You can reach out to the entire process. And personally, I find that fun, and I really found myself here in this company. So if you're considering this career path, I would encourage it. Now, I've been droning on for about 5 minutes, and I'm pretty sure you're bored with my voice. It's not just me who's going to be talking today about what the business looks like, you know, from the inside. We have a short video with a couple of people from our office who will tell you what their perspective is. They're not just language leads, just like me. They are people who work in the testing business. They're people who work with machine translation. And I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And let's move on to the movie.